Hey, what's going on, guys? Axel here. We need to talk about this deck of mini curses crafting that is being previewed right now on Lamania. It's on the second preview. And I really, really don't like it. I've got some ranting to do, but I think this is awful. I think this is going to be terrible for the game. And I've been posting a bunch on Lamania trying to, just give my feedback. Hopefully, the devs change their mind on this, but let's talk about it. I'll explain to you what it is. I'll show you some, screenshots or video footage from me on Lamania, show crafting this stuff. But essentially, if you don't know what this is, it's something they're planning for in the next update. So what's going to happen is there's these cards. You collect them from the 4 new quests. By the way, I won't talk about the 4 new quests. I have a lot to say on that as well, but I'll probably do that in another video in the future. But this is how it works. You collect cards from the 4 new quests. Cards drop from these quests. So there are 4 different card types, and you need 12 of each card type to create a deck. Once you've created a deck, you can craft one of a huge number of random effects onto gear, and this introduces a new bonus type, which is fortune. So these are going to stack with everything. You get about, from at least from my experiences so far, and on Lamania, I've ran all the 4 quests plus experiences of other players. It seems like you're going to get enough cards to craft one to maybe 1.5 decks per run of the 4 quests, something like that. But these are there's a huge variety of bonuses, which I'll show you from one of the players, Ying, a player who posted here on the forums, has done 1,000 different crafting rolls, and there's a huge number of effects. I don't know how many yet, but like above 50 it looks like. But essentially, every time you craft something, and these are all fortune bonuses, you get a random effect, and this can be crafted onto any item in the game with some exceptions. So like quivers, you can't craft onto quivers. You can't craft onto cosmetics, but there's some other exceptions. But for the most part, you can craft this onto any item in the game, any equipable items. So that means like any armor, any gear, in any item slot, weapons, whatever, you can craft it. So this is going to be quite a bit of power creep, and this can be crafted on, as of right now, as the way they're presenting this, it can be crafted onto any minimum level item, as far as I know. I think there maybe not minimum level 1, but it can be crafted across the whole game for the most part. So it's going to be a lot of power creep. So that is essentially what this is, and I'm going to go through some of well, I've already showed you some of the posts, but here's the deal with another thing they introduced in preview 2 that you need to know about. So when they introduced this crafting in the first preview, there was no way to like recraft an item. So let's say you had a weapon. Let's say you have your tuned down to bone weapon that you grinded skeletons in the closet to get. Let's say you're a strength barbarian, and you're using, say, like a falchion or a great axe or something. Let's say you crafted that, and you used your deck, and you got +1 transmutation DCs, something completely useless for that build, and you were just stuck with it. You couldn't change it, nothing. They introduced in preview 2, based on overwhelmingly negative feedback, that wasn't included. Like every other post was like a player saying in preview 1, you need to add this because we need to be able to recraft. But it will be not fun at all if we don't have that option. So preview 2, they introduced a card of curse cleansing, so you can do that now. You can remove the effect and roll again. You still can't pick what you want, which is like what I think the vast majority of players would prefer, but you can now cleanse it and recraft. The problem is this cleansing item they've mentioned in this preview is only going to have a small chance to drop from any item in the game. So there's no way to actually direct farm it. So that involves a lot of issues, particularly I think if they introduce this into the DDO store, which I hope they don't, but they might. But let me hop over now to my post that I made this afternoon, just giving my thoughts here. So I'll go through this, a lot of thoughts. But and I've been thinking about this all week, and I knew I was going to make a video on it because I had quite a bit of ranting to do, but I really, really hate this. I can't emphasize this enough. I think this is going to be terrible for the game. So as I outline here, first of all, like this is a massive amount of power creep, and that's terrible for DDO. Power creep means the game that already has issues with Reaper becoming easier over time, becoming even more easier. And you might look at the effects and say, hey, individually, each effect is minor, But when you combine them together, I mean, you can have one of each item. Each item in your gear set can have one of these fortune effects. So when you take that into account, if you optimize your gear set, which is going to be very difficult to do, and we'll get to that later, basically impossible to do under this system. But if you do optimize it, or even if you get a lot of it optimized, it's going to be huge power creep. I mean, what do you have? Like 12, 13 equipable items? I guess it depends on if you're wearing like using like 2 sticks or sword and shield or whatever. But there's a lot of gear slots you can use to craft on. So you're going to have a lot of these effects, and as a combined total, it's going to make a ton of power creep. I mean, people are going to be adding this to their, heroic reincarnation gear sets and their epics and their in-game gear sets. And we don't need the game to get easier. If anything, we need the game to get harder. I mean, Reaper particularly has gotten harder, has gotten easier over time. And I think, personally, I think it's healthier for the game if like stuff like R10 is like super, super, super difficult. And I even see R10s these days. I mean, it's still really difficult for me, but I really think it should be like borderline impossible for almost anyone, basically even incompletable. Just, it's really healthy for players to have like something to shoot for constantly. And that's one of the other reasons I think we're going to end up getting Reaper 11 plus in the future. But anyways, let's go on. Power creep, bad, very bad for the game. So that's problem number one. Okay, problem number two, and I responded to SSG here with in regards to the cleanser. So here's what they said. The intention is that acquiring the decks will be relatively quick, and starting to get the benefits of the system will be relatively easy. Fully optimizing all of your gear sets is not intended to be an easy nor shortcut significantly with something like the card of cleansing. Rather, the card will give you an opportunity to get another chance for a particularly high value item that you really want to replace the deck effect on. So I really hope that this is not in the store, because here's the thing, and I go into this here. If the intention is really for the cleanser to be just for high value items, so if they really want it to be for just, your raid gear or something, then okay, then it shouldn't be in the DDO store. Because I think if it is, then you're introducing a element of pay to win here that I'm not comfortable with. Because what's going to happen is, if it's, say, like, I don't know, 150 DDO points, then people are going to have to buy these in mass to optimize their gear set. And I don't think you should have to pay to optimize your gear set. Certainly, I think there should be some kind of path. Like, I think the thing that makes, free-to-play games work well, and I think that this is something DDO has been very reasonable on, is there should always be like a pay versus time mechanic. Okay, you can pay to get something in the store, to save yourself some time, or you can earn it in game. But with the way the system is being presented, there's no possible way that's reasonable at all for you to actually optimize your gear set in game anymore. And yes, there's some RNG present in DDO, but it's not going to be to this level. Like, certainly we'll deal with like the RNG and chest drops, or RNG and like raid drops. There's things in the game, like it's not that hard if you have a group to get a particular amount of loot. I mean, RNG is not so crazy that you can't get it in most of the time, and even with raids, there's raid runes. But for this, it's RNG over RNG over RNG. Like, it's RNG in terms of how many card drops you get. You got to craft the deck, and then it's huge RNG, because we're talking a list of like 50 plus effects. So if you want to optimize and get like 12 specific effects, it's going to be borderline impossible. Like, there's no way to work towards optimizing your gear set, and that's what sucks. You could, as I go into here, you could refarm items, but even again, you still are going to need the cleansers, because if you get another item, yes, you get one more roll, but it's not going to be that big of a deal to get another roll. Like, it's not actually going to be a reasonable solution. So, and the issue here is, I in DDO, like, the point of in-game is to be able to work towards optimizing your gear set. And the issue with this system is it takes that away. Like, it makes it basically impossible to optimize your gear set now. You cannot work towards it, because it's like crazy high RNG. I mean, 50 different effects, and we don't even know what the percentages of getting certain effects. Like, certainly the better effects, like +1 to a spell school or something, like that a caster's looking for, that might be a smaller percentage to get than, say, like a worse effect that's generally considered less useful. So we don't even know if the percentage chance of getting these effects is uniform. So it just really sucks. It's just a huge bummer. I mean, as I think most players really like working towards optimizing their gear set. Like that is the whole point of playing in game. So I don't expect that to be easy, and I do expect it to be a grind. And I know that free to play games exist by making that grind easier, but literally there's no way to actually work towards what you want in game. And if they make these cleansers something you can buy in the store, then it introduces an element of pay to win, because let's say they're like 100 DDO points. You're going to have to buy like huge stacks of these just to optimize your gear set, just to cleanse it so you can roll again. And that really sucks. At best, this is just really a really annoying system. And at worst, it introduces a little bit of an element of pay to win that I really don't like. So I hope they consider making this work like every other crafting system in the game almost. Certainly some exceptions, like some people I saw bringing up Dragon Touch, saying this is Dragon Touch 2.0, and it's kind of like that. But I would much prefer if they, even if it's a much grindier, they give us an option other than just a pure RNG option of 50 plus different effects to actually craft. And I would prefer them just not introduce this into the game at all, because I think it's like massive power creep. Really, or at least limit it. And I go over this in the top here, at least limit it to certain items, like limit it to just like minor artifacts or something. That would be miles better. But yeah, guys, that's just my, nerd rant for the day here. But I hope they reconsider this, but it's gone through 2 previews, so I really doubt it. But yeah, I'm concerned about it, really concerned about it. Let me know what you guys think about this system. I mean, overall, it seems to be mostly negative feedback from people again, but I would really prefer just a system, if this must go into the game, at least have some way for us to crafting, or if nothing else, at least let us acquire the cleansers in game. I mean, I would still hate it, I would still find it annoying, but at least we could use them. And another thing is, like, why can't we just like buy them for at least for platinum or something? Because they never let us buy anything for platinum anymore. So it's just like things like platinum need a additional plat sync, and this would be a great plat sync in DDO if they consider adding it for, like, I don't know, 100,000 platinum for a cleanser or something. I don't know. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think. That's all I have to say. It's my rant for now. See y'all next time. Have a good one. Take care.